Dear people of God, grace to you. A while back when we first started these short videos to share, Mrs. Pruill mentioned to me that when she showed the first one to her class, one of the students said, "Wow, Pastor really looks different." And I think what that student meant is not so much my face or anything like that, but the fact that I was more formal that day and had a robe on. And I thought I'd talk to you for just a minute about what some people talk about that dress that Pastor wears. We call it a robe. It's a vestment. It's a garment that covers up whatever I have on underneath. And I'll talk more about that in a minute, some symbolism. But I also wanted to mention this belt, or the fancy word for belt here is cincture. One of the best things about this is the fact that it's adjustable. So if something changes right here, the belt changes easily. Another thing that I really like about it is once in a while you'll catch me doing something like this. And all that means is I'm having fun with God's people. I wouldn't normally stand up here at the altar and do that, but at the back door, when in non-COVID times we'd be greeting people coming in or greeting people going out, you might see something like that. Again, not to poke fun at what I'm wearing, but it's tempting sometimes to just have fun. About some symbolism with the robe. Some of you probably in the scriptures have heard a term called a robe of righteousness. Way back in my college days up at Concordia, Portland, back in the late 70s, early 80s, I used to like to wear a really white, thick t-shirt every day. And one of the cool things about that symbolically for me was that when I put it on in the morning, I tried every morning when I put it on to remember my baptism. The fact that I was a sinner, but a forgiven sinner. And that bright t-shirt reminded me that all my sins had been washed clean. In a way, the robe can symbolize some of the same thing. And while I will admit to you right away that I need at least as much forgiveness as anybody else, but when you're in church, pastor's probably the only one that has a robe on. Once in a while, sometimes acolytes will wear them. But the important thing when you look forward and see that on pastor, you can also be reminded that you also have a robe of righteousness, Christ's forgiveness, because he once, one time in history, went to the cross for you. And he says, each and every day, I forgive you all your sins. And then we can be rejoicing that we are covered with his righteousness. Think about that during your day today.